Abaru, Abuye, Abushishe to all the fellow Awos and the Yanifa across the world. Kabiesi Shango to all my fellow Shango priests. Um, I got my co-host here with me, Baba Risha Bami. Risha Bami, what's going on with you, man? How you doing?
Boy, Kabiese, I'm doing good. I'm blessed, brother. How about yourself?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain.
That's
Just another day in paradise.
Ashe. That's what's up, man. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Another opportunity on the post, doing big things, man. I actually forgot to show you some feedback we got, or I don't know if you saw it, but definitely getting some good feedback, from the first couple episodes, man. So it's definitely making an impact, and people are showing love, and I appreciate, the opportunity to be able to be a part of it.
I say.
Yes, sir.
So I want to highlight. I want to highlight a couple of things. The IJ festival here just passed. That was something that I saw on social media that kind of went really crazy out here in Atlanta.
Ashe.
Um, and we had a Yemoja festival, Yemoja
Ashe.
festival here as well. That was really nice, really spirited. So these last week or week and a half or so have been about the mothers as well. When you talk about Aj, Yemoja. Um, I definitely want to highlight that because the mothers are very important in our lives. So, tell us about your experiences over this last week or so.
Yeah, no, that's real. And it's like the power of the mothers is powerful, bro. Like I had the opportunity to go to South Carolina to go to my yaya, shout out to and huge respect, and honor and love and praise to my yaya godmother, Yeye Iyalode Oshunbumi Olafemi. She was crowned the first woman king Oba, of the USA. She received her crown at her ceremony this past weekend, and it was powerful, brother. It was extremely powerful event, man. A lot of people came out, showed love, and the power of the mothers is powerful. I mean, it's a very refreshing, I think, experience to see, her to get her just due because she was actually a part of the village, the founding of the village. She was with the Oba in New York before they migrated down south, to actually found the village. So for her to get the opportunity to, come back home and to be honored and to receive, her crown to be crowned Oba as, woman king, it was powerful, brother. And, she actually delivered the king, the current king who, sits at the throne of Oyo Tunji now, she actually delivered him. And so for him to be able to kind of pay that forward, and to give her praise and to give her, the just due for being a founder with his father to, crown her as Oba, it was a very special moment. And so I'm looking forward to sharing not just the actual coronation and the ceremony, but also she gave a speech and then the king gave a speech as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to sharing that on the channel as well. So it was a powerful moment, brother. Very historical moment.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. My first time experiencing Oyotunji,
Hmm.
I was 5 years old,
Wow.
and my grandfather, matter of fact, my grandfather, my father, and Balagun Shango,
Hmm.
they all went through. I believe they went through a gungun at Oyotunji
Mm. Ashe.
together.
Mm.
That was very monumental as well with those trailblazers. And I definitely want to shout out my grandfather Baba Rishamola and my
Ashe.
grandmother as well, Yeye Iyale Mojibolatan. I
Ashe.
definitely want to shout them out. They were definitely there at the festival as well, Yemoja Festival.
That's what's
So yeah, man, it's been very eventful. I say celebrating these mothers. We got woman kings popping up. We got more female chiefs, popping up. In our Isese community. So the mothers are heavy. And this year is all about the mothers. As far as the Ifa goes.
right.
Beginning of the year is all about the mothers following our if you have a wife or if you have that girlfriend that really strong in your life that's guiding you in the right direction. That's that's what this focus is this year, because the females in our life, they'll help us stay away from danger.
I share.
So we have to really pay homage to what that is, and also our mother's side of their ancestors as well, venerating them, keeping their lineage in light this year
I
is
share.
very, very, very important. um so I really want to really get right into it, man. I want to know exactly, for you, um what is it like, as far as your quote unquote morning routine when it comes down to Ifa?
Mm,
What does that look like for you? Because a lot of people within the Isese community, or people who want to be a part of the Isese community,
mm,
don't really have um, what we call rituals. As far as how we start our days.
right.
So just give the people something that's really, really important for you, as far as how you start your day.
Got you. No, well, I appreciate the question. I never thought about how relevant that is to people, on their journeys, especially people who are new to the tradition and the faith. But for me, the way I start my day, I wake up, I go to my ancestral shrine, I commune with the ancestors, I speak with them, I give thanks to them, I give my thanks and honor and praise to them. I give thanks for everything that they've done, past, present, and future. And then from there, I move on to my Eshu. I go, to my front door and I grab my Eshu. I grab him and I give him an offering every day. I give him offerings of OT and of Omi Tutu, which would be water and liquor. And then also, depending on the day, I give him a little extra too. But every single day, I wake up and do that first, and then from there, I go into my shrine room. And from my shrine room, that's when I give my deep prayers. First, I give my prayer, to giving thanks to the great God of heaven, Oldemare, and then from giving, prayer to the great God of heaven, Oldemare, I pray to my Ori. I do my Ori ritual prayer, and then from my Ori ritual prayer, I start to praise, Obatala, and then from Obatala, I go and I pray to Ifa and Arumula, and then from Arumula and Ifa, I go along the line down my shrine. So from there, I give thanks to the mothers of Yemoja, Oshun, and I give thanks to my Eshu Ajay. I give thanks to Kabiese, Baba Shango, and I give thanks to my mother, Hekua Ye, Mama Oya. And from there, that's pretty much how I start my day. And then depending on whose day it is, I make sure that I give them, a little something too as far as an offering. So like with today being Kabiese, Baba Shango's day, I gave him an offering. Him and Ye Oya, I gave both of them an offering today as well. So that's pretty much how I start my day. And to be honest with you, it doesn't feel right if I don't go through that same exact ritual, because it's such a ritual, it's such a morning routine that's like if I don't do it, it doesn't feel right. So I almost, even if I'm running late for something, I kind of speed it up and move along real fast, so that way I feel comfortable feeling, leaving the door, leaving the house, knowing that I did what I'm accustomed to doing in terms of my rituals. And then even for those who are really dedicated, like a lot of times when I'm traveling, I'll put even a glass, behind the door for Eshu. Even though I don't bring my Eshu with me, I do kind of keep shiggities with me a lot of times when I travel. But and for those who are not familiar, shiggities are like small miniature Eshus that I personally, I travel with them. I keep them with me whenever I travel, just for that extra, sake of protection, that extra connection, of having Eshu to be there to clear the road and clear the path to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But that's pretty much how I start my day in terms of a regular traditional day, or regular scheduled day, a regular day that doesn't have anything that comes out of the blue that kind of throws me off my path or off my pattern of what I normally do. So that's how my normal ritual day starts.
Mm. That's interesting, man, because it sounded like a lot.
Yeah.
It sounded like a lot.
Yeah.
But the when something is that important to you, you make it a priority.
Hmm.
Just like we do brushing our teeth,
Yeah.
taking a shower.
Hmm.
Like we don't feel right not doing so.
Yeah.
Or it's like putting on clothes in the morning.
Hmm.
It's like what is priority to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's your morning ritual is very similar to mine, because we care.
Right.
When you show care for the Orisha, and you show care for your ancestors, as when you deal with your Egungun and whatnot, they're there to help us navigate.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like when you care, they help navigate. And when you slip up and you don't listen to, my grandmother always said, listen to those whispers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the deities, they'll talk to you.
That's facts.
You know what I mean? And which is ultimately, it's your what do they call it? Your subconscious speaking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you know what you're supposed to be doing, and it's up to you whether you're going to be lazy and not do it, or you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like everybody has a choice in life.
Right.
It's about what's really important. So that's I definitely like that, man, because a lot of people need to hear that so they can take a piece of what you have and try to implement it into their lives. Um,
Sure.
so with the five, how does it really, how does it help you? um how has Ifa helped you in your life? Like what does it mean to you? What is Ifa, what is the meaning of Ifa to you in your life?
Mm. That's a very, very uh, loaded question because there's so many different levels and layers to what EFI is, and it'll be very difficult for me to kind of quantify it all into just one answer. But I think to try to, for the sake of time, and to like summarize it or try to just give like a highlight, a Sports Center highlight, EFI is life. EFI is intelligence at its highest level.
Mhm,
EFI is balance at its highest and deepest level. EFI is mathematics. EFI is the unification of all the elements of life, of nature, of every aspect phase of creation. EFI is a very intricate piece to that puzzle, and even someone like me, I started my journey as in terms of African spirituality with going deep into metaphysics and studying the Kemetic sciences from ancient Kemet.
mhm,
And the deeper that I went into the Kemetic sciences and studying ancient Kemet, the more I saw the similarities of Ifa and the Kemetic sciences. So, when you look at the way we look at the pyramid builders and we look at the ancient Kemetians or the ancient Egyptians, right? You'll notice that one of the most supreme deities that's attributed to the hierarchy of the Kemetic sciences is Tahuti. You know what I'm saying? Or Thoth. Thoth. He goes by many names, but most people would know him by as Thoth or Tahuti.
mhm,
So as you study deeper into Ifa, you'll come to see that Orunmila is literally like the same deity, but from the Ifa perspective, right? So he is the deity of the highest sciences, of the highest spiritual order, of purity, of mathematics, of all the things that are kind of attributed to like creation and intelligence and wisdom. Like that's Orunmila. So for me, Ifa is so vast that it's really hard to kind of quantify into like one, small answer, because I think for the most part, at least from my perspective of what I would like to share with people, is that Ifa is the balance of creation and the balance of life, afterlife, rebirth, and life again, right? Because when you're talking about divination, when we're talking about Ifa, the Babalawo is considered to be the highest level, the highest form of divination when the Babalawo divines with the king, right? So the Babalawo can't divine with the king, even though he's the highest, I would say, medium or the highest messenger in terms of delivering the messages of Ifa, right? He can't do anything without the Odu. And
mhm,
so the Odu is the feminine aspect, the feminine principles of Ifa.
mhm,
So they have to work hand in hand together in order to create what we know as Ifa, especially when we're talking about divination and we're talking about delivering messages. So, I mean, for me, it's it's everything. That's what Ifa is, and because you have to have both principles and both elements of masculine and feminine energy in order to actually have any representation of Ifa. And I feel like for me, that's it's a beautiful thing to see both, you know, masculine and feminine energy dancing in harmony. And that's what we see when we're dealing with Ifa in terms of like dealing with the Babalawos, we're dealing with the Odu. And then I remember the very first time that I had my first consultation with Ifa and got a Dafa divination consultation. And the very first thing that the Babalawo asked me was he needed my name, and he needed the name of my mother, and he needed her maiden name. So that within a nutshell to me showed me that I can't even receive the highest level of divination and messages from Ifa without first having to give praise and honor to my mother, or at least having my mother to be, you know, present in that equation in order to tap into that energy to get that message. So uh, it's a very powerful science, very powerful science.
Awesome, awesome, man. Um, so man, the way that people have to think about Ifa is, like you said, it is the mother, and a lot of people don't really understand the power of the mother.
Hmm.
That's why they need your mother's name during divination,
Yeah,
because they're the closest thing to what we call, God. So at the end of the day, man, that's something that's very, very, vital when it comes down to the mothers, man, is that people have to understand that, Ifa is ran off of the mothers,
facts.
period, point blank.
Sure.
As we have, these quote unquote alpha males out here and whatnot, you're still nothing without the mothers,
Facts.
period, point blank.
Hmm.
So at the end of the day, when it comes down to Ifa, that's, like you said, that's the highest point of what that is. You know what I
That's
mean? So I wanted to put a little bit more, emphasis on what that is, man. So with that being said, with your morning rituals and all that good stuff, um, how do you find balance with Ifa and business?
mm,
What does that look like for you in your life? Like, how do you balance that out?
mm. That's a great question. And real quick, if you don't mind, I want to kind of just throw a few more things in there when like kind of like because what you said inspired some more thoughts for me in terms of the mothers. So like when it comes to the mothers, I joke around sarcastically, but I'm also serious. You know, like when I'm talking to my wife or I'm talking to anybody in terms of dealing with women, especially the black women, right? I know for a fact that that is the highest level to me, the highest level of humanity. Like the black woman, the womb of the black woman gave birth to humanity. So to me, that is God. Because if you were born and you have a belly button, you had to come through the portal in the womb of a woman.
Right.
Therefore, we don't know or see or experience this thing called life if it didn't start at the gate or the portal of the woman. So I
Mhm.
really do look at the woman as God. And you know, we grew up in a society, those who are here in the diaspora or in the United States or anywhere outside of the continent of Africa, we grew up in like a patriarchal society where, you know what I'm saying, they make it seem like it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But no, it's the mother. And then, you know what I'm saying, everything else. And so I just want to really like say that. And then if you even we're gonna talk about science or we talk about anthropology, the oldest humains ever found on this planet was that of a melanated black woman, and there's no debating or no disputing that. So therefore, every single person who lives on this planet, who has walked this planet, is a direct descendant from the womb of a black woman. So when we talk about God, I just want to re-emphasize the black woman is God. And you know, and I feel like it's undebatable and indisputable, you know, in terms of that. So I really do feel like our mothers need to get the direct praise, the direct honor, and the just due of what they deserve and what they require. And I feel like what is necessary. You know what I'm saying? Because seeing the event this past weekend and then knowing and speaking to you, and you had 2 events that were dedicated to the mothers, that's not a coincidence to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see you have 2 of them where you're at, and I have one where, you know, where I'm at, and all of them was based off of honoring the mothers. Like, so I feel like that's something that I know you and I have spoke on, and several other people who I've, you know, had the blessing opportunity to have, you know, on the platform, that we're going to highlight that and make sure that we give the praise and the props and the honor to the mothers that they deserve, because in this society that's not done. And I feel like they're doing everything they can to tear down and to kind of like assassinate the character of our queens, of our mothers, of our daughters, of our sisters, you know, like, and I'm not dealing with that, and I'm not going to like just let that happen without me speaking out and against that and giving the praise and the honor to the mothers. So I just wanted to kind of really reinforce that, because if it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to you, because we both have a similar view when it comes to the mothers. And I feel like they deserve that, and I feel like it's mandatory and it's necessary. So, but in terms of balance, bro, like I got to work on that. I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm gonna be real about it. I have a lot of work to do with balance, because I've always been a hustler. I've always been someone who's been very ambitious and dedicated to hustling. You know, and even with the conversation that we've had off air over the last couple of days, I know you know firsthand like how much I'm driven into that hustle, because for me, I feel like I'm not really winning until I'm in the position to put my mother up, you know, put the women in my life up and have them chilling, you know, kicking back and not really having to worry about working or doing anything. And so I'm so focused and driven on that. Sometimes I don't give myself the proper balance that I should for myself and for, you know, with Ifa. But I feel like Ashe, between Ashe and my rituals, that is my dedication to Ifa, because I feel like everything that is of the Isese Post, everything that is of the African spirituality experience, everything that is of the office of the Balogun Shango is all Ifa. So therefore, I know that I'm truly dedicated to that, and I'm going to continue to be dedicated to that for the rest of my days. But there's also other elements and other levels of dedication that comes with, you know, my path and my journey as well, that I'm working on creating that balance with. But at the same time, I do feel like they kind of go hand in hand, because the more that you're working on your business and your brand, the more that eventually you're going to be able to create a level of freedom that gives you the opportunity to where your business and your brand can get on automation and be on autopilot, to where you start to develop your team, your staff, and you grow. And then in that growth, you'll eventually be able to grow the free time or the allotted time that it takes to dedicate and reallocate to the other aspects of what the journey of Ifa, you know, and African spirituality traditions, you know, require. So I feel like it's definitely a challenge, but I'm up for the challenge, because at the end of the day, every aspect of that challenge is bigger than me. And it's about looking at it from a standpoint or a perspective of the we, and collectively of the we, versus focusing on it, what it's about, for making it being about me. So that's kind of like how I look at it, in terms of, you know, being dedicated to both, being dedicated to, you know, my path with Ifa and Isheshe and my spiritual journey, as well as being dedicated to my business and my brand, you know, and trying to get them to balance and harmony.
Yeah, man. Because I was having this conversation, and my grandfather always told me, he was like, man, Ifa is not for the weak. You know what I mean? It's not for the weak, and Ifa, you have to stay on top of the materials of Ifa as well.
Yes,
You have to stay on top of the condiments of Ifa. You
I
know,
should.
how do you want to spend money on cola and OT and Oyin and Epo, or do you want to go and hang out with friends?
Yeah,
It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can do both, that's awesome.
yeah.
There's some people who have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Or for those of you who have to make that decision, whether I'm going to have these condiments or I'm going to hang out with friends,
Mm,
make the wise decision.
I should.
Make the wise decision, man, because these elements and these deities, they look for us to constantly venerate them. You know, they look for us to bring the same things to them as offering, you know, on these O'Shea days and whatnot. So that's something that, you know, a lot of people really, you know, don't quite understand, because if I can be expensive for most people.
Yeah.
You know, when you have to, me and you, we were talking about this, and you know, it's like when you have Ifa, you know, you at least need 2 cola for Ifa.
Right.
You know, you have a Eshu Odara, you at least got to have 2 cola for Eshu. You know, so that's 4 cola right there.
Right.
You know, and then on top of that, I have Baba Shango. You know, that's 2 Orokbo for Baba Shango.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then you have Baba Ogun as well. That's 2 cola for Baba Ogun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I have to feed my Ori.
Mm.
You know, so that's 2 cola for Ori.
Mm.
You know, so at the end of the day, man, you know, in a week, and then you know, O'Shea Egungun. I'm an Egungun priest.
Yeah.
2 cola, well, 4 cola for Egungun because I do it with my grandmother.
Mm.
You know, so you're talking about between 12 to 14 cola in a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is week in and week out. So you look at just a month of that. A lot of people, you know, and then you know, making sure that you have OT,
Yeah.
you know, to give, you know, making sure that you have the rest of the condiments, man, that you know that are needed.
Right.
You know, and like I said, it can be really expensive to most, but we have to look at the bigger and the large picture
Right.
when it comes down to the balance within what we have to do versus what we want to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
it's like if the spirits are going to work on our behalf, then we have to pay homage to that.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, that's something that, you know, a lot of people miss within their lives, and they try to figure out, wow, you know, why is my life in disarray? You know,
Mm-hmm.
how come things aren't happening, you know? And we have to always go back and be like, okay, you know, have I properly been over here to Egungun? Have I properly, you know, fed my Ifa, you know, during my O'Shea Ifa days? You know, have I been really consistent with that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the more consistent that we are with the deities, the more consistent they will be with us. But it also uplifts your family.
Mm.
That's the biggest thing. So every time we don't want to do something, and we consciously and subconsciously know that we have to do it, you're 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 not doing any service to your family and your
Mm.
lineage.
Mm.
And that's something that a lot of people don't put emphasis on. It's
Mm.
not just about you.
Right.
It's about the bigger picture. It's about your family. It's about the people around you. You know, we ask for longevity. You know, we ask for all the array. But at the same time, it's like, are you going to put in that extra work for your family in order to move forward?
Right.
So people have to stop thinking about themselves
Mm-hmm.
and think about the people around them, because it's not, Ifa is about, it's about self, but it also includes the people around you, because you have to be in community to do Ifa.
Right. That's facts.
You have to. Ifa is a team sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's something that we, you know, have to always keep in the back of our minds. Like, okay, do I want to do this, or do I want to go over here and do that, which really don't, it's not really, I can do that anytime.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's awesome, man, that you know that you even are able to announce that, you know, you're up for the task.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who discard the task.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
And real quick too, for those, because there's a lot of people who are new to the journey. So when we're talking about the condiments, like with OT, we're talking about liquor. It'll usually be gin or rum. With Oya, we're talking about honey, and then with Epo, we're talking about palm oil. You know, and just for those who are brand new to, you know, to the tradition, and tapa, sometimes people call cigars tapa, but those are all the condiments that go with the majority of, if not all of the Orisha. You know, mine is like, well, Batala won't get no palm oil, but he'll get, you know, a lot of times, and depending on the houses and all that, he doesn't usually, I don't think, get OT, depending on the houses though. But those are some of the things just for those who are brand new, you know what I mean, to the journey, that are listening, because there's a lot of people who are new to the journey, but they're curious and they're ambitious, man. Like they really want to, you know, learn more and to be to submerge themselves into the tradition. So there's a lot of conversations I'm looking forward to having with you, you know, just to kind of bring a lot of that insight, especially even with you being an Egungun priest. You know, we spoke about it. Like I would love to have conversation where we can really get in depth with that as well, to help people with communicating with their ancestors, you know, and learning how to venerate their Egungun, learning how to come to them properly, learning how to communicate to where they can get and receive messages. You know what I mean? Like these are all things that I feel like having these conversations, this dialogue is really adding a lot of value and a lot of insight to help people to start to, you know, really grow, you know, within their journey, man. So it's a beautiful thing, you know, to see all this unfold, bro. It really is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, and I'll drop a little gem for those of you who have loved ones who have passed away. Don't when you have pictures and whatnot, if you have a picture with them, take yourself out of the picture
Yes.
and put them up on, you know, if you're creating an altar or shrine,
Mm-hmm.
put up single pictures, you know, of your people who have passed. Don't never put yourself on the altar.
Yeah.
You're still living. So that's a gem that, you know, a lot of people really don't know, because they're like, oh my God, you know, this is one of the memories that I have with them. So I'm gonna, like, no, you have to take yourself out of that picture and put them up by themselves.
Right.
You
Now
know,
I'm glad you said
they
that too.
support you.
I'm glad you said that, because that's huge. That's huge for people to know. So I'm like, man, I'm glad you said that. One more question too, while we're on that. How long is there? Well, let me ask you this first. Is there a set amount of time that, you know, after a loved one transitions, that we're supposed to give before we actually put them on the shrine? Or like, what's the process of that in terms of, you know, the time between when they transition to the time that we should, you know, uplift them and put them on our shrine?
No, there's really no time limit, man.
Got you.
Like the sooner you can put them up there, the better.
Okay. Got you.
You know what I mean? There's no time limit on that, because if you think about it, man, like, you know, they say life is short, but we ask for longevity to live
Mhm.
a long life. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to a gongo, man, the quicker and faster that we can, venerate that energy,
Mhm.
the better.
Got you. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because it's, man, listen, when we pass, man, we want to be celebrated all the time,
Yeah, I get it.
possible.
I get
You
it.
know, and we don't want to be forgotten about.
Right.
You know, so that's something that, people have to think of when, as we're here living. You know, we have to think of, okay, well, if we were, if we weren't here, um, how would we want our people to celebrate us?
Right.
You know what I
I get
mean?
mhm.
And yeah, man. So the quicker you can make that happen, always the better.
That's right.
Because at that moment, even if it's right after the funeral,
Mm.
you still like it's super fresh.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like it's super duper fresh. Because normally after a funeral, they have like the repast.
Right. Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Which is, it's like, yeah, it's cool, but if you're becoming an ancestral priest, or if you are an ancestral priest, or even if you're not an ancestral priest, the quicker you can do that, the better.
Mm. That's right.
Period. Point blank, man. Like it just, so that's something that we have to always, keep in mind, and don't put yourself in the funeral pamphlets.
Got
Families always want to put themselves with the deceased.
right.
You know what I mean? Like we have to, as a community, we have to stop putting ourselves in these pamphlets as well.
Mm.
You know what I
Wow.
mean? Because it's not about us; it's about the person who passed.
Right. That's facts.
It is, man. Like it's about who passed.
Right.
So we have to stop putting ourselves in these pamphlets because you don't want to lessen your longevity because at that moment you're calling to be with them.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. So the moment you put yourself in that position, you're asking for them to take you with them.
Mm. Yeah, that's some man, that's some phenomenal insight, bro. Like for real, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't know that, and especially the picture thing. Like I can't stress enough how happy I am that you shared that because a lot of people, I especially people who are brand new. I would say more people who are brand new. That's a diamond, that you share with that because that is huge for us to make sure that people are aware of that. And if you're brand new and you don't know and you don't have a relationship with a priest of a Gungun priest, or even just a Baba Orisha or Iya Orisha or Babalawo or Iya Nifa, if you don't have a relationship with any type of priest who's been trained and who's knowledgeable and has skilled training in this tradition, there's a lot of things that we can do that can be very harmful and detrimental, to our well-being, if we don't know how to properly conduct these types of rituals or these types of veneration, celebrations, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's huge. Like, and I'm glad we're touching on that because, like I said, these are all things that I know I've gotten questions and feedback on firsthand, and I like to present that to people like yourself who isn't a Gungun priest that has this firsthand knowledge and has been trained in that particular path of the Sheshe tradition. So yeah, that's phenomenal, and like I said, I can't express how happy I am for you to drop that because that is extremely, extremely important part when it comes to creating your ancestral shrine for sure.
Yeah, man, it's very, very, very important. And I was blessed to become an ancestral priest, at the age of 19.
Mm.
And there were things that I experienced going through a gungun
Mhm.
was very enlightening. It allowed me being in a gungun priest equivalates to having it gives you clairvoyance.
Mm. I sure.
And you can literally see people's future sometimes.
Wow. Mm.
So that's and a lot of people who have natural clairvoyance,
Mhm.
or just natural gifts, in general, we have to recognize our power that comes from a gungun.
Facts.
Like, man, we have everybody has some sort of power that they've either tapped into or they haven't. Or if
Mm.
they have tapped into it, some people may abuse it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
these are all ancestral gifts because we come back as someone.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, our families, especially, when there's, newborns that are coming into the world, we're always looking to see who they're coming back as.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to always pay attention to a gungun because if we're looking at that baby and we're like, man, this baby has mannerisms like our grandmother or
Mhm.
grandfather or whoever, and these children have gifts and they're showing us their gifts, we can't ignore our gifts
Facts.
because these were given from the ancestors.
Facts.
Like literally,
Yeah.
we have to really put that into perspective. You know what I mean? And because like even for myself, man, like I have a gift of, I'm a seer as well.
Mm.
So I can see danger before it happens.
Wow.
Literally within a blink of an eye, I can see it.
Mm.
So and I can help people avoid certain things by letting them know exactly what I see.
Right.
But that's a gift that some people have and some people don't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But everybody carries some sort of gift that is given from our ancestral lineage
Mm-hmm.
to uplift the lineage as a whole.
I should. Yeah.
You know, because even when you have Babalaos who divine, and all of that good stuff, or Yanifa who divine, you have some who, while giving divination, they can see directly through you.
Mm.
So if you're coming there trying to get something, and your ancestors and the deities are speaking, and Orumila is speaking, they can see directly who you are, and they can see directly through what you're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of people get mixed and screwed, man. Like this ancestral thing is real.
Right.
It's a living being. Our
Yeah.
ancestors, that they might not be here physically,
Right.
but in the ancestral realm, they're still looking over us, they're still guiding us.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something that we have to, really pay attention to. And I can go on and on about it, Gungun, all day. That's be another segment. But
Yeah.
man, I love talking about it, Gungun, man. Because
Well,
my Egun don't play about me.
man, listen. That's why I really want to. I know we had a set agenda, but even when we spoke off air, it just was on my spirit to like kind of ask you a few questions about that because I know how many other people that can benefit from it. But even like let's just switch gears real quick, right?
Okay.
You can't, for those who are new to the faith or new to the path or haven't like made it through going through the room, going into the room and getting initiated, right? You're not even able to become a priest or priestess if it isn't blessed by your ancestors. You're not going into the phase of the
Yes.
priesthood if you don't have the blessings and the
Mhm.
approval and the
Mhm.
co-signing of your ancestors. It's not happening. So they play a huge role in everything that we do, in all aspects of our life. And even to the point where when you were speaking about when a baby comes back, we look at the features of what the baby has, and who they remind us of. If you think about it, because you and I both know, well, hell, we were baby EIOs at some
Yeah.
point. You know what I'm saying? So we had to be reborn from, the old life that we left before going into the room into who we was, born into coming out of the room.
Yes.
All that still played a role, or I should say the ancestors still played a major role in that whole entire process,
Yeah.
So it's like we can't do anything without appeasing and making sure that we venerate and honor our ancestors because they are literally like they're everything. You know what I mean? It's like that. That's why I was like, I just wanted to tap into a couple questions because I knew you have insight that even other priests and priestesses don't have if they're not in a gungun priest. You know what I mean? It's so much value and so much powerful information that so many people can benefit from, with us having these types of conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's essential because that people talk about the rights and the wrongs of Ifa.
Mm-hmm.
You can and what you can't do, whatever the case may be. But we have to, I want to put emphasis on intention,
Yeah.
because a lot of people come to Ifa with the wrong intention.
Mm.
And your intention with a gungun, your intention with the Orisha, you have to come with a pure heart in order to see results. There are people who want to um, go to their ancestors, or go and get divination, um, to hurt other people, or um, to have just get back when it comes down to someone who have may have wronged them, or they may be in a tough spot, and they want to go and get divination, to um, try to get that person up, whoever hurt them, or whatever the case may be, man. And I've seen it time and time again,
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of people, and then you have people um, who try to ask certain questions about Ifa, but they haven't shown any dedication
Mm-hmm.
to Ifa.
Mm.
Like you have to show some type of dedication
Facts.
before you can really start asking all of these questions. Like, are you a part of a community?
Mm.
You know what I mean? When it comes down to your ancestors, like I had a conversation with a guy one time, and his girl had came to me and she was like, hey, my boyfriend, he's in E5, this and that, and I'm trying to get him like on a straight and narrow. And she took me over to him and I asked him a couple of questions, and I was like, hey, I asked him, how he was doing, what his name was, all that good stuff. And he was like, man, uh, I asked him, I was like, what do you do? He was like, well, bro, to be, completely transparent with you, I'm a scammer. And I was like, okay. I said, do you have anyone that's not here that was close to you? He was like, well, my grandfather. I was like, okay. So if you and your grandfather were close, I said, was he a part of any religion or whatever? He was like, no, he was Jamaican. I said, okay. I said, well, with you knowing how the Jamaican community is, they're very strict on what that is as far as integrity.
Mm.
So with you, I was like, why are you fighting that uphill battle with your grandfather?
Mm. Mm.
Literally, why you're literally fighting your grandfather every day.
Wow.
Then he went on to tell me that he had been shot at, he had been some things that happened.
Right.
I said, man, you have all of these warning signs in front of you, and you still want to fight that uphill battle.
Mm.
So anytime that we decide to do something that's against the morals and values of our ancestors, and they're sitting here showing you, hey, this is what I need you to do. Now you're lessening the longevity of your life.
Mm.
Because they're sitting here showing you that, okay, you want to do this, okay, I'll give you a warning sign. Okay, I'll give you another warning sign. The next time may not be a warning.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, people have to recognize, man, that we can't continue to fight that uphill battle.
Mm.
We have to have integrity. We have to have strong values when it comes down to our livelihood.
Mm.
Because our ancestors, they look over us.
Mm.
If they look over us and they're protecting us and they care about our well-being,
Mm.
why would we go behind their back and do something that they would do?
Mm.
So when we talk about ancestors, that's what that is. They look over us, they protect us, they walk with us. If you're especially if you're venerating them and you're making sure that your Egungun is always straight, you're putting certain things on the shrine that they love.
Mm.
That's another aspect of Egungun, giving them things that they like.
Mm.
If your grandmother or your uncle or your auntie or whoever, brother, sister may have passed away and they like to smoke cigarettes, put a pack of cigarettes up there for them. You know what I'm saying? If you have a old T-shirt of theirs or old shoes or jackets or whatever, put it next to them.
Mm.
If they love smoking cigars, put some cigars up there.
Mm.
If they love drinking Diet Pepsi, put some Diet Pepsi up there.
Mm.
So as long as we're doing those things, man, we don't have to turn our back to do something that's shady or shisty with the Orisha and our Egungun when they sit here and protect us every day. That's blasphemy.
Mm.
If you're not in the culture,
Mm.
if you're not in Ifa and you're just learning, we have the opportunity to turn things around. You know what I mean? Nobody is perfect, but the least we could do is keep them in mind as they walk with us.
Mm.
Because the more that we discard them walking with us, the more they back away.
Mm.
And that's when you see people leaving before their time.
Mm.
That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
when people leave before their time, that's because, and this is in some cases, this is not all cases, but in some cases, you know, with people who are in the streets or whatever the case may be, who are really young or misguided, or who put money on people's head to get killed or get shot at or whatever, that's taking more off of your life.
Mm.
So for, you know, people who are in the streets who teeter-totter that line between spirituality and being in the streets, you have to realize, man, that your ancestors walk with you, but seeing what you're doing in the streets, they're not proud of it.
Mm.
And the fact that you teeter-totter between spirituality and the streets, we have to put emphasis on that, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who condone it. There's so many people who condone people being in the streets and being in spirituality. That's blasphemy. You can't expect to be an Ifa and expect your ancestors to save you when you're on the other side doing something that goes against our spiritual guidelines and what our ancestors want for us.
Mm.
Point blank.
That's facts.
And I've seen it time and time again, man, and people don't talk about it because it's such a sensitive subject.
Right.
You know, you have people putting their hard-earned money on the line, and you're gonna condone certain things, man. Like, you got people out here who are misguided, and
Mm-hmm.
you have Babalaos and the Yanifa out here who can help guide people.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, man, you know, if you do this, if you're smart enough to scam someone, you're smart enough to start your own business.
Facts. It's all
You
about,
understand?
yeah, it's all about how you're using that intelligence.
Yeah.
You're blessed with. But and real quick too, I just wanted to ask you, because to me this has been on my mind as you were, you know, laying out all the intricacies with our relationship with our ancestors. But I can't wait to hear your answer. But I got an idea what it's going to sound like. But this is something that, and this is for the young people. I know the majority of, from what I've seen in the analytics of our audience, is primarily, I want to say that the 25 to 65 range, but we do have some under 25. But, and for those who are parents that have, you know, teenagers or young people or nieces and nephews, etc., who are like in the teenage years to under 21, I know you all, or we all, can relate to this. But how important is reciprocity when we're talking about our relationships with our ancestors, Egungun, and the Orishas and Ifa? And I ask you this question because I'm going to share a real life story, and I know tons of other parents can relate to this, or people who are raising young people. Because I have a thing when I talk to any of the young people that I take care of, I deal with in my life, where they're quick to ask me to do a favor for them, hey, park, or can I do whatever, right? But then when I need a favor, like, hey man, I need you to get that bathroom cleaned up, or it's pushback, or it's like, you know what I'm saying, or it's like it's attitude, or it's like like. But you didn't have an issue when you asked me for a favor to give you something to do something for you. But you got an issue when I asked you to do me a favor and do something for me. The same thing goes hand in hand when we're talking about with our ancestors and the Orishas and the Egungun and Ifa too. So now, when you first ask that question about how do I start my day, I make it a point to start it that way, because God is good and everything is good right now. I ain't got no problems. But I feel like if something come up, I know I can go to them and ask for help and assistance, because I know I haven't been one-sided with what I'm giving to them. So can you kind of touch on how important and significant reciprocity is when we're talking about our relationships with the Egungun, Orisha, and Ifa?
Oh, so so reciprocity is it's supposed to be a two-way street. Ifa is not, spirituality should not be one-sided.
Yes, sir.
It should not be take, 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 take. It should be like, you get some, I get some. You get some, I get some. And that's something that's really, 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 really important just in our everyday lives.
Yeah.
It's all about how can I be comfortable and how can the people I'm with, how can they become comfortable as well.
Yeah.
Even in the business realm, we have to always have a two-way street to make everybody comfortable. When it comes down to the Orisha, you know, we always, when it comes down to Egungun, we always, go to them and, be like, hey, we asked for this, we asked for that, and da 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 da. But it's like, okay, well, do we have the condiments to give to them?
Mm.
Do we have certain things that we can keep up with to give to them?
Mm.
Because we're constantly asking spirit for something, but never giving.
Mm.
That's blasphemy.
Mm.
If there's no two-way street and it's always me, 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 this is what I need. This is what I need. They're gonna sit
Yeah.
there and look at you and be like, okay, we know you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we know. You're gonna keep asking. They're gonna be like, yeah, we know. Yeah, yeah, we know. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's gonna be it.
Yeah.
Until you get the bigger picture and be like, okay, boom, my grandmother needs this, Egungun needs this, so and so needs this, Shango needs this,
Mm-hmm.
Batala needs this, Ogun needs this. You want
Mm-hmm.
you want the you want the path to be clear. Okay, Ogun, here you go.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So it definitely has to be a two-way street, man. And as long as we feed spirit, man, spirit will always have our cup, run over. You know, so that's
Oh, yeah.
that's very important, man. And that was something that my grandmother, my grandfather, pops, like everybody, they taught me really, really, really young, about the having passion and consideration.
Mm.
When you talk about reciprocity, that's called consideration.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
Facts.
have consideration for the things that are pushing and propelling you forward?
Mm-hmm.
And um, I don't know if are you familiar with Iyanla Van Zant?
Love her. I love her. I mean, I don't. I love her. From what I know of her, I haven't like watched her shows. I've seen an episode here and there, but even just the clips that I see of her, like I love her because she's so. Oh man, I'm trying to think of the right way to describe her. She's so, and it's such an oxymoron, but I feel like this is my best interpretation of her. She's so eloquently fierce. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like she is. That's the best way for me to try to personify her. And I know people who really follow her work and know her. I know that that would be. I feel like a very uh, just close description of who and what she is. She's eloquently fierce because she's eloquent. She's a beautiful soul. She's powerful. She's nurturing. She's so many different things. But man, is she fierce, and boy, can she can she cut
Oh,
deep. So it's like, yeah, I love her. I love her, brother. I do.
man, man, listen, the reason why I asked you about her because she's a great example of reciprocity.
Yeah, yeah, I can see
That's
why you said.
why, and you got to realize she's with one of the biggest icons ever. When you
Yeah.
can sit next to Oprah as and she's a Yanifa.
Mm,
Agbonbon is her Oluwo
mm,
and Oshogbo.
mm.
So at the end of the day, man, we have to realize the work and everything that's going on behind closed doors when it comes down to spirituality. You have a
Mhm.
woman like this who's an Iyanifa, and if she's in whatever other priest,
I think
we have to,
Obatala, if I'm not mistaken. I think she
huh?
might be Obatala priest too, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe so.
Priestess of Orisha. I almost want to say it's Obatala. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm
Man,
certain she's a priestess as well as the Iyanifa. I just can't remember which Orisha, but I think it's Obatala, if I'm not mistaken.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you look at that, man, and you have a show on the own network. You know what I mean? And you're able to have, and fix people's life. But the biggest thing that people don't pay attention to is her conversation on reciprocity. with people and their family. Like, that's what people don't really pay attention to. You know, it's not about, oh man, we're coming here to get our lives fixed. It's like, no, she's going to sit you down and talk about how are you reciprocating with your family members. This person is showing you that they love you. They're showing you gratitude. They're showing you humility. So let's take spirit out the picture.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about family.
Yeah.
The people who are here with.
Relationship essentials.
Yes.
That's what she is especially at.
And so people, that's what she breaks down to people. It's like, if this person is willing to do this and they're willing to sacrifice for you, are you willing to do the same for them? Are you willing to have an understanding for this person that says that they love you?
Yeah.
So the same thing that happens with our, ancestors and the deities. They're like, yo, we love you. We appreciate you. But are you going to have that two-way street and be like, yeah, I love you too?
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to have humility. I'm going to put my head on that mat and I'm going to sit here and pray. I know how you've worked out in my good times and in my bad times. And a lot of people, oh man, spirit hit me heavy. People only go to spirituality. We talked about this two-way street. People only go to spirituality when they're in their rough times.
Yeah.
They only go when things are bad. Oh, I need to get divination because my life is horrible. What about in your best time, when things are going right? Are you going to get divination? You know what I mean? Are you going to go talk to your ancestors and thanking them because times are right? Are you going to Shango? Are you going to Ogun because things are right? And you want to thank them and say, hey, I appreciate you for all that you're doing, and I thank you for your continued work in my life. That's reciprocity.
Yes, sir.
So oh man, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you, but it just goes back. It goes back full circle to how this conversation even started from the beginning till now. But in the spirit hit me to share. I'm gonna share, a personal story. But everything that you saying, bro, like it's so spot on and in alignment to how I know my experience with this tradition has been, to the point where I'll tell you, I'll say maybe within, I don't know, 6 to 8 months, maybe even less, 4 to 6 months, but give or take, I had divination from my godmother. And at the end, she gave me, like what all the message was. And then usually if I have to do an abo, she'll tell me like whatever the abo is, right? So at the end of this particular one, I remember it clear as day because something you said, it reminded me or triggered it in me to go back to that, time travel back to that particular consultation. But at the end, I was like, is there an abo or any, prescription or whatever? She was like, no, they say you got the whole message that, everything's good. I was like, wow. I was thinking I was going to have to give Shango, this, or give Oshun this, or because whoever the deities were that spoke during that particular divination, like they spoke loud and clear. And so I was like, they don't want me to give them nothing? Like, they don't need that? She's like, nah, you got the whole message. So she asked again. She's like, you got the whole message. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. So then she asked me, she's like, so are you giving them, offerings regularly? I say, I try to do it like literally every day. I do my best. I say, I ain't gonna say I do it every day, but I try to give everybody something on their days and do it consistently almost every day. And she said, well, that's why you ain't got to get no abo. She was like, because when you're consistent and you're giving them, Adimu, and you're giving them, the things that they, require that we're supposed to do on the O'Shea days, she's like, you really ain't gonna have to do too many abos when you, have a divination or a consultation, because we're uplifting them exactly how you said. We're giving them, you know what I'm saying? We're giving them just because, not because something's wrong, because it's the right thing to do. And so when you talk about that, it's not even an Orisha, practitioner relationship or even an ancestor, descendant relationship. It's really just a relationship, period. You feel me? Because no matter what kind of relationship it is, we always have to still give in order to receive. And when we're doing that consistently, it makes it that much easier especially when times do get hard, for the ancestors or the deities or the guys to jump in and help us, because they know our heart or our intentions are right. We have good intentions when we wake up, and we're ritualistic on a daily basis, that we're giving to our relationship with them. You know, and I've had people who wanted to get warriors, and I'm like, do you have the time to really like put into this? Because if you when you get to this phase, and for those who are not sure what warriors are, that's when you get your Eshu, your Ogun and your Ogun and Ochosi, and they're typically behind your door, depending on your living situations. But I've had people who wanted to get warriors, and I'm like, you got to make sure that you're able to dedicate and allocate the time and the energy and all the things that come along with this. Because I said it, and with all due respect, just for those who are not familiar, but to me, I let them know, like, when you do this, it's almost like either having another child or getting a pet. Like, you have to take care of these deities every single day. It's not like you could just get them and leave them there, because there's a lot of repercussions and consequences. I've heard some not tragic, but devastating stories of people who got them but didn't do anything with them. And time would just go on and go on and go on. And all this catastrophe, like you were saying with the brother who was the scammer, all these different, you know what I'm saying, catastrophes was unfolding to the point where they had to have Babalawos do some major work to kind of get things squared away, to get them back right. So we got to really take these relationships serious, especially when you're starting to move up into the different levels of what, you know, this faith system and this spiritual tradition is about. So that, man, I'm telling you, what you were saying, it triggered that in me. I'm like, bro, that's spot on, boy. Like, for real, like, we can't play with it. It's not a game.
Yeah, man, it's essential. You know, we should want to do all the essential things in life to get us where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? To get us to our higher selves. You know, and you know, the moment that we choose not to do so, um, it's not really, you know, we're not looking out for ourselves. It's a when you don't do the essential things, you're pretty much um how can I put it, like you're beating up yourself internally.
Hmm.
Like you're having an internal war that you
Self,
don't have to have.
yeah, self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, man, we have all of this in front of us. We have all of these Orisha in front of us. We have all of a Gun going in front of us, you know, and we choose to turn the other cheek. Like, nah, man, like that's not it's not healthy. You know, when people talk about health, it's not just about what you eat, it's about how you treat yourself.
Hmm.
It's not about you working out, it's about how you treat self. Can you sit with self and be like, okay, I'm doing everything I need to do?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Even when you don't have it,
Right.
you know what I mean? The least you can do is show gratitude.
That's facts.
You know what I mean? And spirit will provide.
That's big facts.
When you believe that spirit will work on your behalf, they will provide every time, because you're showing that gratitude to them. And you know, we have to, you know, pay homage to that, man, because you know, these are people, you know, and you got certain people who are in your egg bay as well that will help assist you,
Hmm.
you know, because a closed mouth don't get fed.
Facts.
You know, if you need some cola, or you need some gin or whatever, there's people out here that can help you get that.
That's facts.
You know, when you don't have it, it's somebody that has it. That's why we have community.
Facts.
This is why you need community. You
Big
know,
facts.
the community is very important, because you know we have to be here to help each other. You try to do E5 by yourself, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah.
It's going to be a struggle, man. We need our brothers and sisters to be like, hey, can you help me with this? Or we can never do anything by ourselves.
Takes
Ever.
a,
Takes a tribe.
and I didn't realize how deep that was until coming out of the room the first time. Like, I was amazed. I mean, you'll never know unless you went through it, but just after going through it, you really see how much your tribe rock with you. Like, that's a real thing, bro. So now I know that's another thing that I make it a point to do my best to pay it forward anytime we have any EIOs coming through, because it's a very humbling, for me, it was extremely humbling and refreshing to see how many people dedicated their time, energy, and efforts to facilitate, you know, that transformation to take place. And it definitely takes a tribe. There's no way you're doing it by yourself. Not even close.
That's it, man.
Close.
And you know, even when you go through Ifa initiation or any type of initiation, man, it's you have it's a what you're looking at is a machine, you know, because there's so many hands that are helping you. There are so many feet that are helping you, you know, and that are helping you get to your highest self.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't sit back and try to initiate ourselves until we get out of initiation. Then you have the reinitiation, which is following your path and your destiny.
Right.
That's the initiation of self, is when you get out of initiation. So when you get out of initiation and you go back home and you're in your everyday life, you're in your reinitiation period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the reinitiation is, you know, are you going to have good iwapole?
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is, you know, balanced and good character. You know, are you going to do everything that you need to do to be on the straight and narrow so everything can work out for you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, even for myself, like, I'm still trying to balance out this Shango initiation. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And like that was, I went through Ifa and then Shango back to back, like
Mm-hmm.
4 days apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, it's a lot it's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's transformed my life, you know, in a way that I really never saw coming. You know what I mean? Like with E5, you're going into the unknown, and a lot of people are not comfortable with not knowing, you know, what's behind that wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like walking into the unknown has to be something that we get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to spirituality, be excited about the unknown. You know, you don't have to always know what you're getting yourself into.
Mm-hmm.
We're still alive. We're still here. Ain't nobody did nothing to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Our families are still living and breathing. So at the end of the day, you know, we have to take that into consideration, because there are so many people who want to know, oh, what happened and what did you do and da 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 da. It's like, nah. This
You'll,
everything that we do, we can't talk about that.
you'll never know.
You'll never know. Even if you tried to Google it, you
Right.
still wouldn't know.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? You can try to look it up on YouTube and you still won't know.
It happened.
You know what I mean? Because everything that Ifa is about is very intricate. Spirituality is very, very intricate.
Mm.
So people try to look up certain things on YouTube, on Google, and they're like, yeah, you have to do this and you have to do that and da 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 da. It's like, bro, like you have no idea.
Not even close. And you know,
So
two
for
things.
those who are trying to do that, man, be very, very aware that you're looking at a small, minuscule piece.
Yeah.
What that is.
Like a grain of sand to the beach.
Man.
Like, and it's two things that you throughout your, like, the last answer sparked something in me. One, of course, that's why it's called an awo. That's why it's called a mystery, because you'll never know unless you go through the door. It just ain't happening, period. You know what I'm saying? You'll never know unless you go through the door. And that's why Ifa is called awo. It's a mystery. It's a secret, you know? And you won't know unless you went through that door. But the other thing was, earlier you said something that triggered, oh, I think it was when you said, like, spirituality is a machine. And
Yeah.
then we were talking about the initiations. As you were saying that, bro, I promise, like, it just, something triggered in my mind, like the light bulb went off. Like, it's literally, I looked at it as like a trilogy, or like a trinity of like a matrix. And for some reason the pyramids came back to me again too. But, and when we're going through that, you know, it's usually just the one person that's getting initiated. But really, you have a trilogy of like a matrix of a trilogy of energies that are happening all simultaneously. You have the Gungun, the ancestors of that person, and then all of the people who are involved with it. Then you have the Orishas of all, you know what I'm saying, all those people who are along with it. And then you have the actual human aspect of it. So now when you put those three together, bro, I'm telling you, it's just like, to me, it's situated just like the pyramids, because you have three great, you know, three aspects that are coming in formation or fruition together simultaneously to bring about that new birth, you know, to that new Yahweh. So it was like, I just wanted to share that part because for some reason it just lit up in my head like, yo, that's dope. He talking about it's a machine. And then I'm just like, damn, it reminded me, you know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, you have all those elements there, all those forces are there working harmoniously to bring about this transformation, you know, and this new
Yes.
birth.
And you know, something else I want to touch on, man, is that, you know, people, we have to appreciate the fact that we can even go to the motherland.
Mm,
It's called the motherland for a reason, because everything is birthed there.
facts, big facts.
So there's a lot of people who can't make it over there. So for those of you who have been and can go or about to go, it's truly an honor, because your ancestors, the deities, they have guided you there.
Mm,
You know, and even for myself, man, like, you know, going over there, you know, everything had lined up perfect.
mm,
Going over to Africa, you know, I had the money to pay my rent up for 2 months.
mm,
Had the money to pay for the initiation.
mm.
You know what I mean? I had money to pay for certain things, while, you know, pay for the ticket alone is, you know, that could be almost 2 grand.
Easy.
You know what I mean? And then getting there, you have to buy certain things when you get there in order to bring back and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, just even looking back on that as a whole, I was like, man, like, you know, this is you know, it's all in divine timing. You know, when the money that I needed, when it hit my account, I was with my father and I was like, yo, everything just hit.
Mm,
And he was sitting there with me. When it
mm.
hit, he was sitting there with me. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that, you know, that was it was all Egungun, man. You know, it was the deities. They're like,
Facts.
yo, if this is what you put your mind to and you got your ticket, okay, cool. This is your path.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because there's some people, man, who may get their ticket and don't have the money to go through the initiation.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. It takes a lot.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, we have to look at the other side of things and really be appreciative, man, because there's this rat race that's going on for people who want to become, you know, Yanify and Babalao.
Mm,
You know, it's a rat race, man. You know, everybody wants to have this title.
right.
You know, it's like it's not so much about the title, man. It's about uplifting yourself, uplifting your family lineage to go to new heights.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, so we have to get out of that rat race, man. Because even when you go to Africa, you don't see people trying to step on other people's toes.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? You got the Babalaos over here that are doing their thing. You got the Shango priest over here doing their thing. The Obatala priest, the Oya priest, the Oshun priest.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is in. They govern. You know, whatever they govern, that's what they do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, you know, even being with our Bonbon, he called the Shango priest to come and do what they do. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, it's all about, you know, how you're treating each other. You know what I mean? How much money can we spread around to each other? You know what I
Right.
mean? Let's pass the wealth around. You know what I mean? If we're over here as Baba Lau's doing five, okay, cool, boom, the Shango priest, they're doing what they're doing, taking people through Shango. That's how it's supposed to be. But
Mm-hmm.
here in the US, man, we have a power struggle of this rat race of trying to be the thing. And it's like, man, I want to be the thing because I want people bowing down to me and I want people to salute me and I want this and that. Like, that's not what Ifa is about. That's
We
not
gotta
that's not good intention.
We got to have an episode on that. Listen, it's gonna be some feathers ruffled. I don't. It is what it is. But
Hey, man.
let me tell you something. We got to have we have to have a conversation on that.
This Shango.
Have to have a conversation on that because I've seen that in so many different ways, and humility is everything, bro. Like for real. Like there's people who to this day they only know what I am now because of this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, if I didn't put this podcast out, they wouldn't know anything about any type of, any part of my spiritual journey. Because for one, I'm private. For two, I'm humble. I don't have to tell you who and what I am. I don't have to tell you, any of that because I'm comfortable with it. Let my work speak for me. I'm very adamant with that, bro. Like I let my work speak for me. I don't need people bowing down, double leg. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool, but I'm not gonna check you if you call me by my government name. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying it's wrong to like ask people or request people to call you by your priest name. I get it, but I feel like there's a way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Without coming off. It's a conversation we gotta have. I just leave it.
Oh yeah. That's what I want to tell people, man. When it comes down to the Isese Post, us here, as a Shango priest, and you being, the Jagun Shango, man, we have to realize, man, when we look at the Oshe Shango staff, right? We look at that icon. It's double headed. It's the double headed axe, right? The only thing that we've ever seen that's double-headed that deals with justice is the gavel. Is the judge's gavel.
Wow.
Oof. Shango he's the ultimate judge. So as we sit here with the Isese Post, sponsored by the Balagoon Shango USA, we have to understand, man, that as Shango, as children of Shango, we ultimately have a major say so. You know what I mean? And we're not here to hurt anyone. We're here to just spread knowledge amongst the people in order to uplift our community within Ifa. You know what I mean? So that's something that people have to understand when you're looking at that Oshe Shango axe, that double-headed axe. That is a gavel.
It's on the top right hand corner, or depending on which way they're seeing it. But yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean? So in Shango, if he's about justice, the judge is about justice. When people sit in the courtroom, it's the judge has the ultimate say so of whether you go back to humanity or whether you go behind bars. Period, point blank. So at the end of the day, man, that's what we're here for with the Isese Post. I know we're kind of running on time, but I know we hit some really, really good points. And I definitely, want to pay homage to, the Balagoon Shango Babogun Tolu. We appreciate you for always, allowing us to have this platform to push the culture forward.
That's right.
And pushing, Ifa practitioners forward, pushing, just everyday people to be aware of Ifa and everything that we stand for. That's what we're about. And I also want to highlight Baba Oba, him and his sister. They're about to have their Odun Ifa for Oba, and his sister is going through her. She's going to have her Odun Oshun. So they have them together.
That's what's up.
And big shout out to Baba Shola here in Atlanta. So that's coming up as well. And we'll definitely get Oba on here to talk about that as well. Maybe him and his sister. I think that would be super dope to have a brother sister duo on here. So I definitely gonna put that out there. But we appreciate you all tuning in to the Isese Post. We here every 5 days, man. Every Oshe Shango day we are here to uplift our people, and we appreciate you. Odabo.
I say Odabo.